Okay, so turn to page 7 in this packet, and we will pause the video here for you to do these 4 warm-up questions. All right, so A, the derivative is 9x squared by the power rule. B, you should get 3, the coefficient carries down, and then the derivative of e to the x is e to the x. For C, the 3 coefficient carries down, and then the derivative of 3 to the x is 3 to the x ln of 3. And then lastly for D, again the coefficient of 3 carries down, and the derivative of ln of x is 1 over x. So simplifying that, we get 3 divided by x. So what we're going to do today is composition of functions. You can see here in our objective composition of functions. So what that means is when you have f of g of x as an equation, so we'll say that equals y. So then the derivative, the chain rule says we take the derivative of the inside function and multiply that by the derivative of the original function with the inside it. Well, that's a lot of variables, so we can think of this as a shortcut. If we think of the inside function as u, the derivative is u prime and then f prime of u. So we'll do that for number 1. We look at this equation, we have 4x squared plus 1 to the 7th. So for u, we're going to think of that as the inside function. That's the 4x squared plus 1. So the derivative is going to be the derivative of 4x squared plus 1, which is 8x, times then the derivative of the original, so the 7 comes down as the power rule, leave the inside alone, to the 6th. And then we can combine our like terms. We can multiply 8x and 7 and get 56x times 4x squared plus 1 to the 6th. For number 2, normally our equation is e to the x. So in this case, the inside function is 3x. That's replaced where normal x goes. So the derivative is the derivative of u, which is 3. And then the original derivative, so the derivative of e is itself. So we get 3e to the 3x. For number 3, the inside equation is x squared plus 1. So I take the derivative of u, which is 2x, times, times, then we'll do the power rule, the 100 comes down to the 99th. And we can combine the 2x and the 100 with multiplication and get 200x times x squared plus 1 to the 99th. For number 4, the inside equation is 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. So I'll take the derivative of that, which is 6x plus 5, times, and the power rule, the 1/2, and when you subtract 1 from 1/2, you get an exponent of negative 1/2. So to simplify number 4, I'm going to think of the 6x plus 5 as over 1, so I can line up my numerators and denominators. In the numerator, we're going to have 6x plus 5. And in the denominator is going to be 2, because of this 2, times the quantity to the negative exponent, when that moves to the denominator, then the exponent becomes positive. So number 5 is very similar to 4 because the square root is a power of 1/2. So our inside equation is e to the x plus 1. So our derivative is the derivative of u, so that's e to the x, times, I don't really need that, so times the power rule, so the 1/2 becomes the coefficient, and then subtract 1 from the exponent. So since it's all multiplied, when I go to simplify, this e to the x stays in the numerator. The 2 for the 1/2 is in the denominator. And then we've got e to the x plus 1 to positive 1/2 exponent, which if I want, I can rewrite as the square root. And this would be the final answer to number 5. Okay, number 6. The inside function is x squared. That's where the normal exponent normally goes. So then our derivative is 2x e to the x squared. Okay, so now it's your turn. Try all the problems on the next page. Let's see how many are there. Ooh. I don't want you to see the answers yet. 7. Try all 7 problems. We'll pause the video and give you about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I will reveal the answers and do all the work. Okay, so here are the answers to all 7 problems. Number 1 is a repeat from the prior page, so I'm not going to redo that one. For number 2, the inside function is 3x over 2. So the derivative is the derivative of 3x over 2, which is just 3 over 2. And then the derivative of e is itself. So then for 3, the inside is the negative 0.2x. So the derivative is negative 0.2 e to the negative 0.2x. For 4, the inside function is 3x squared. That's in the exponent. So our derivative is 6x e to the 3x squared. And now number 5 is 2 problems in 1. So we have to find the derivative of the first and the derivative of the second, and then add them together. I'll do that over here. So for the 6 e to the 5x, the 6 carries down as the coefficient. The derivative of 5x is 5, and then e to the 5x stays the same. Then for the second part in blue, the derivative of negative x squared is negative 2x, and then e to the negative x squared. So to finalize this, I'm going to do 6 times 5, and then plus a negative is minus, and that's our final answer for 5. So for 6, I'll do that over here. The inside function is 5x plus 1. So the derivative, the coefficient of this leading 5 carries down. And then ln, oops, I'm sorry. Then I have to do u prime. So the derivative of 5x is 5, and then times. The derivative of ln is 1 over the argument. So to simplify this, I'm going to do 5 times 5 in the numerator. And then the 5x plus 1 is the denominator. And last but not least for 7, the derivative of the inside is 3x squared. And then the power rule. So I'm going to do 3 times 99 and get 297. And then the other variables remain. So your homework is page 9, but it's not all the problems, it's just these ones at the top. So 1, 5, 9, 13, 15, 21, 23, and 29. Oops, okay, and 29. All the answers are on Drive, so make sure to check yourself tonight before you consider yourself done the homework.